Hello and great evening to each and every one of you. Lakeisha McKnight is here. I want to welcome you to the Revitalize the Total Woman podcast. Once again, I am excited to be here. Very, very excited to be here. There's so much going on. So many great things happening in the world today, but at the same time, so many tragic things going on. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is lay a solid foundation because, I really want to touch on some important things as we are heading now and actually walking in the third core area of this podcast in this nonprofit. So let's back up a bit. I'm going to let you know that this podcast, Revitalize the Total Woman podcast, it is a media outlet for a nonprofit that's based in Chesapeake, Virginia. And the name of the nonprofit is Women of Elevation Career Services International. And it is a 501c3 organization. Let me just say that. But Women of Elevation, that's the market name. That's what we do business as in the community and in other places. But the legal name here in Virginia is called the Kingdom Expansion Enterprises Incorporated. So just in case you're trying to look us up or do research, where we're named, our legal name is the Kingdom Expansion Enterprises Incorporated. So I thank you so much. And I just want to let you know that the mission of the podcast, the mission overall, of course, of the nonprofit is to empower women with the tools to be able to create, relate, and elevate so that you can live that lifestyle that you've always desired. And so we thank you so very much for being connected. We've been around since 2008, this nonprofit, and we decided to go forward with the podcast soon afterwards because we want to be able to reach those women who are on the go, those women who have busy schedules and maybe a smaller budget, but they need the extra assistance. They need empowerment and they need guidance so that they can truly walk in their God-given purpose. So thank you so much for being connected once again. And we do encourage you to visit our website to learn all about what we're doing and what we have going on. Our website is www.womenofelevation.com, and we try to update that website often. We also have a blog where we're seeking to post content on a consistent basis. So be sure to visit the website's blog as well. And so the website blog would be womenofelevation.com/blog new. So BLOGNEW. So that's womenofelevation.com/BLOGNEW. That's how you're going to get connected to the blog. So once again, thank you so much for being connected here. So as I was sharing last night, we're transitioning into the third core area with this nonprofit organization. And the third core area focuses on elevation. And so we talked about that on last night. Now, hopefully you had an opportunity to definitely go back and listen to that episode because we talked about the definition of it. We gave a little bit of a layout of what you have to look forward to as it pertains to these next 4 months and pretty much the rest of 2017 as it pertains to the podcast. So we talked about that. So go back and make sure that you listen to that episode. But tonight and for the rest of the month of September, we're focusing on thinking, okay? Because thinking is closely linked to your ability to elevate, okay? It's really, really close. It's really close, and you definitely want to be a great thinker. And so what we're focusing in for tonight, more specifically, is positive thinking. So how is positive thinking really connected to you being able to elevate? How is that connected? Because when you think about elevation, someone who is moving up, someone who is being boosted and being propelled forward had taken some steps. They did something to get to that next point. But before even getting to that next point, understand that the root of your actions, the reason why most people take action and they do the things they do is because of their thinking, your thought process. And so I always encourage entrepreneurs, but just people in general, to have big thinking, to think big, because to think small would be to kind of belittle your gifts and your talents and all of that has been bestowed and placed within you. So when you have bigger thinking, you're thinking above yourself. You're thinking outside of your very existence, because once you're gone, you want your name, you want your legacy to live on beyond yourself, beyond your years. And so you need to have big thinking, but even more specifically, you need to have positive thinking. And I know some people, I've talked about this topic before, I believe, and some people struggle with positive thinking simply because of the environment in which they dwell, or within the place in which they work, or the business environment. Okay. And so you really have to be aware of who you're connected to. Let me just start right there. When it comes to positive thinking, you must be aware of who you are connected to, because it is who you're connected to that's feeding you. You see, you have eye gates and you have ear gates, and your thoughts are heavily connected to what you see and what you hear. Let me say that one more time. Your thoughts are extremely connected to what you see and what you hear. So what are some things that you're seeing and viewing and watching that are either positive or negative? And we have to be cautious of the word positive and negative as well, because some people's perspective of positive is a little bit different. I see positive as something that's going to help you to be better. Someone that's going to help you to be a healthier you. That's positive, a healthier you. And so if it's not helping you to be healthy, then that's not positive. And that's what I'm defining positive as here. Okay. And so your network, the things that you're seeing and viewing, or people that you hear that's speaking into your life, you want to make sure those things are positive. Those things that's going to elevate you, going to edify you, that's going to push and propel you forward. That is going to help you to have positive thinking. What are you watching? What are you reading on a day-by-day basis? Are you reading books that really doesn't help you to get to your next level? Some people stay connected to books that focus on things that they really shouldn't be focusing in on. Let's just be honest, okay? There are some books out there, and I'm not going to quote them, that may not be the best type of books to read. So what are you feeding yourself with on a day-by-day basis? Am I saying that you got to read the Bible 24/7? I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying, okay, is that you have to be aware of what you're placing before your eyes and what you're listening to, because that is filtrating inside of you and impacting your thought process. This is going to impact your ability to think positively, which as a result impacts your ability to elevate, to be promoted, to be boosted. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you have a whole lot of things in your mind that's not adding to you, that's not edifying you and making you stronger, then that's what you're going to be. And I use this phrase very lightly because I'm not calling anyone trash. But here is what I believe. I believe trash in, trash out. Whatever you're putting in, it's going to leak out. You're going to see it. It's going to manifest itself outwardly. So whatever you're doing in the private will manifest itself in the public. Whatever you're putting inside of you will manifest itself outwardly. So if you're thinking negatively, then it's going to leak and the public will see it. With your actions or whatever you're doing, your attitude, it's all going to show itself. So the more positive things that you view and that you hear, the more positive fruit will be evident. So let's work on paying attention closely every day to what you're watching and what you're hearing. Am I saying you're going to be able to totally avoid everything that has curse words in it and totally avoid things that have nudity or sexual things? And it's probably going to be almost impossible the way that the world is going. Okay? And we don't want you to live in a box. But at the same time, you have to be a good filter, of what you place before yourself to hear or to listen, whether it's people or things, you can discern and you can have discretion as to what you're going to allow. We have the ability to make a decision, to choose, and we have to make wise choices so that we can have positive, healthier thinking. This ultimately is going to help you to elevate. So I want to thank you for listening in to our first week's content as it pertains to thinking. We're talking about positive thinking. And so I want to let you know and get you geared up, because next week on Tuesday, we're going to be back here. You know, we're here every week on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to schedule that in there, go ahead and do that. We do see that we have a live listener on the platform here, and she's a faithful listener on one of our other, with our other shows as well. And it's Janine Harrod Brown. So we appreciate you, Janine, for listening in. But I will tell you this, and once again, be sure to set your notifications for Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because this is when we're going to be here live. Now, you can always come back and listen to the replays, because that's what it's there for. But there may be special occasions where we give training live on the air, and that's only going to be available to you live, because you're not going to be able to download it. Okay, we won't be able to download it, and it may be deemed as private after we give it. Okay, so just be aware of it. Be aware. But next week, we're going to dive into talking about divergent thinking. I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, Lakeisha, what is that? We're going to go into it on Tuesday. We're going to dive into it. So be sure to be here next week on Tuesday at 8:00 p.m. as we delve into divergent thinking. But other than that, I thank you so much for listening in to the Revitalize the Total Woman podcast, the media outlet for women of elevation, career services, international, where we are empowering women like yourselves with the tools to be able to create, relate, and elevate. Be sure to visit the website once again before you, maybe before you exit tonight and head to bed. You can definitely peruse the website. The website address is www.womenofElevation.com. Be blessed, and we'll speak with you next week.